Big Charlie. Big Charlie hasn't killed anyone. Big Charlie probably doesn't have thoughts in its head. It has a somewhat bewildered, somewhat frightened expression that would be endearing if the creature wasn't a walking filet mignon. It has a thick black mane and seems to be a mammal despite its asexual reproduction, and long protruding beak on its face. Its milky eyes imply that it's visually impaired. If you've ever seen Momo, that horrifying legend from a few years ago, its face sort of looks like that. Big Charlie certainly earned its name. Standing at nearly 10 feet tall and 12 feet long, it's described as potentially some kind of oversized, malformed cow. On its stomach, it carries smaller chunks of flesh called lil nuggets that drop from the creature, wander off on their own, and later become void nuggets. If Big Charlie is aware of this process, it shows no parental affection for the offspring. He wrote that several livestock animals escaped, Big Charlie included. I hope they weren't turning lil nuggets into burgers, because I sort of feel sorry for Big Charlie. He spends a lot of his time wandering onto farms and spending time with other livestock. He doesn't have the instinct to hurt anyone any more than a dairy cow does. Sure, he's an emaciated giant that looks only vaguely mammalian, but he needs love too. Mr. Bag. Mr. Bag, also known as Mr. Trash Bag, first name Trash, last name Bag, is a large creature that seems to grow with every image released. His face seems almost like that of a drowned corpse, with purple around his eyes and lips. As his name would indicate, he wears trash bags around himself, which also appear soggy. Inside the creature's trash bag body is a corpse considerably smaller than his body size would imply. In the second drawing released, Mr. Bag appears to stand at around 14 feet tall, then grows incrementally in each piece until the most recent. He's now an estimated 20 feet tall. If one plays their cards right, they can befriend Mr. Bag. Be warned though, he's awfully needy. The corpse enveloped in the trash bag serves as Mr. Bag's host. If he feels ignored, abused, or neglected, he will strike at the first opportunity and wrap the victim in the trash bag, suffocate them, and incorporate them into his overall form. This is the reason he keeps getting taller. It seems to be the case that Mr. Bag will befriend children, but once they grow up and he reappears, they become frightened of him and avoid any interaction. Those who are friendly and kind to Mr. Bag aren't harmed. His origins are a bit murky, other than the presence of the host corpse. Fans theorize that he's a tulpa manifested as a personification of terror and death, similar to the old detective after a child's traumatizing experience. Another theory is that he's simply a paranormal entity that befriends humans sometimes. Remember everyone, kindness is key. The woman on the bus. The woman on the bus made me say absolutely not out loud when I saw her photo. I don't think I'm wrong for that. She's disproportionately tall, has an elongated, wrinkled alabaster face, and two black, void-like eyes. Her nose and mouth are small and thin, and she has long black hair and a matching dress. The woman on the bus is the main antagonist of an episode of Mayfair Watchers Society. In the episode, she torments a young woman through recurring nightmares, then finally recreates the woman's nightmare in reality. In the episode, the main protagonist sees the object of her nightmares on the bus late one night. As she talks through the scenario with a friend on her phone, the person on the other end of the call begins experiencing strange happenings in his home. This implies that the woman on the bus can be in two places at once, psychologically torturing them both. We love a multitasking queen. What happens when the woman on the bus gets you? No one is really sure. Although she employs similar tactics to Old Detective, it's implied she takes more of an active role in her killing, potentially inflicting physical harm herself rather than compelling victims to self-destruct. The main protagonist in the episode in which the woman on the bus is featured hears running from behind her after trying to get the bus driver's attention, which would indicate a physical attack. It's also strongly implied that the creature can manipulate reality to emulate the victim's nightmares and ensnare them in hopeless scenarios with no possible means of escape. Have you ever seen someone on the bus who didn't blink, didn't breathe, didn't belong? Tell us what happened. We'll be watching the comments. Maybe she will too. Old Detective. Old Detective stalks his victims in the night and terrifies them by standing under a deep red light. Not what you want to see in a movie theater parking lot. He's tall with a head that's a bit too small and no facial features other than two tiny black holes for eyes. His torso is too long and he has short legs that bend out in the middle. He seems to have no bones as he wobbles in unnatural ways that would be impossible with any kind of skeleton. Trevor Henderson has made the utterly horrible concession that the creature moves sort of like a giant inflatable tube man they put in front of car dealerships. He has no hair, but wears a very classy fedora, long white socks, black shoes, and a trench coat. At least he appears to wear these things. Upon closer inspection, anyone bearing witness to this abomination would see that the clothes are a mere illusion, and that they're actually extensions of the Old Detective's skin and body. A victim chosen by Old Detective experiences extreme anxiety and paranoia. It's theorized that he likes to instill in others what he feels himself, resulting in psychological torment that leads to self-destructive behavior behaviors and death. He's described by Henderson to be the living embodiment of paranoia, which is why he resembles a child's interpretation of a cartoon detective. He becomes nervous when people stare at him, much like a child. How cute. The predominant and most likely theory about Old Detective's origins is that he's a supernatural entity, either a tulpa that was manifested through an extreme feeling of paranoia in a human child after a traumatic experience, or a demonic entity that feeds off of fear. Its nearly human appearance elicits an uncanny, deeply unsettling feeling in those who witness it. There is no established way to defeat Old Detective, which is probably the most terrifying aspect of him. The Forgotten Baby. The Forgotten Baby, or Pink Man, is a skinny, malformed, 7-foot-tall fetus that breaks into houses. Its eyes are too big for its face and bore into the soul of its witness. It has 2 long arms that end in points, which it uses to support itself when walking. The name Pink Man comes from the nightmare fetus's red and underdeveloped skin, giving it a pink and fleshy affect. It moves silently, without so much as rustling on the carpet, which means it can appear at any time without warning. Worst of all, when it opens its mouth, it reveals a wide grin void of any teeth, only red, lumpy gums. There are very few canonical details about the Forgotten Baby's motivations and origins. It's thought to be a supernatural entity that jumps between dimensions and seems to have manifested following a hospital fire. Mysteriously, the maternity ward was the only section not rebuilt. A couple of times, Henderson has connected the Forgotten Baby to television metaphors, igniting theories about the methods of its attacks. To quote Henderson, he wants to kidnap you and trap you in the static, in between the channels on the television stations. You'll always be on TV, but never a star. The Smile Room. The Smile Room is not nearly as friendly as it sounds. It's more of a grimace. It's a cryptid that merges an eldritch monster and a wormhole. All that's ever been seen of the creature is a wide set of filthy flat teeth and dripping gums that replace a door to an abandoned room. It can occupy any room of a deserted building and eats anyone stupid enough to walk in. The gums have strange pink tendrils that stretch out from them. If the Smile Room doesn't lure and consume its prey fast enough, it will release ambulatory humanoid creatures to catch and infect people with a parasitic extension of the creature. The infected individuals become hosts for the creature themselves. It's thought that Smile Room is just the mouth of a larger, nearly dead, interdimensional creature. Nobody knows why it's nearly dead, other than some cryptic hints from Henderson. The only way to avoid vanishing into the Smile Room is to resist entering and avoid its horrific minions. For whatever reason, teenagers are most at risk, though, to be fair, a married man with a beautiful family is unlikely to go exploring an abandoned hospital in the middle of the night. The creature is canonically linked to the disappearance of several teenagers who left little more than a phone behind. Once the Smile Room catches its selected prey, it vanishes and moves to occupy a new abandoned room in a new location. The God of Roadkill. The God of Roadkill is a skeletal deity with a long, bird-like mask and a body consisting of a rib cage, arms, and spine. The eyes at the top of its skull seem to be crude or drawn on, and has led some fans to believe that the enormous bird head is some kind of mask. It has no legs and relies on its arms for movement. It's large, at least the size of a van, and its skull is nearly the size of the rest of its body. An enigmatic creature, the God of Roadkill assists the souls of animals killed by vehicles in their transition to the afterlife, and enacting vengeance against the drivers responsible. It's unclear how exactly, but the drivers who hit animals always end up dying in an accident on the road. Whether they die by direct action of the God of Roadkill or it causes an accident that kills the driver, there are never any survivors. The God of Roadkill as a name is not a cinematic exaggeration. Its abilities and behavior indicate that it is omnipresent, can influence fate, and of course, can transport souls. Strangely, the God of Roadkill shows compassion and gentleness towards humans who have not harmed animals or even children. It's known to seek revenge on behalf of abused or murdered children, and guiding humans hit and killed by vehicles to the afterlife. Don't get too excited if you see him while driving. That's the first sign that you're about to crash. Breaking news. Breaking news is a featureless giant covered in black skin. It's a twisted humanoid creature. It has 2 short legs, a long torso, arms that span the length of its entire body, and a neck that's entirely too long. Because of its long neck, its head hangs forward or backward most of the time, resulting in a terrible, deranged appearance. Anything beyond what it looks like is an assumption or fan theory. Henderson has disclosed precious few details about Breaking News, but fans have decided, based on other similar creatures, that Breaking News is a destruction giant, capable of leveling cities and causing mass casualties. It likely seeks unworthy humans to destroy, sparing those remaining to be delivered to paradise. The giants each have a role in destruction and judgment. It's likely that that Breaking News is a member of this elite group due to its size and relative similarity to the others. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're anything like us, you'll be waiting anxiously for Trevor Henderson's next terrifying brainchild. Which one of these would be the worst to see when you're home alone? Leave a comment below.